Good? Okay. We're going to start the open workshop. It is 5:10. I'll take a roll call. Trustee Alonso is absent. Trustee Broderick is here. Trustee Burke is here. Trustee Cassius is here. Trustee Egan is here. Trustee Finnerty is here. Trustee Wilbeck is absent. Vice President Munoz is absent. President Bellato is here. Okay, I'll start with resolutions. I'd like to just turn your attention to curriculum instruction. A1 and A2. If you remember, we introduced at the last meeting, it was the readoption of all our bylaws and policies, and then there was a second package, which was an update of revisions of policies, regulations, and bylaws. So that'll be voted on tonight. But for next month, and I'm going to read it into the record now, there is another list of adopt, revise of policies, regulations, and bylaws that is listed, and we're going to do that for the October 26th meeting. Policies were sent to the committee with the changes. Everything is on record in my office. If anyone would like to see any of the particular policies, just let me know. But we will vote on this next month. Okay, so we're reading that into the record to be adopted for the October meeting. And like I said, I have it here if anyone would like to see it. All our resolutions were sent home. The only thing I'd like to point out is A11. It's approval to oppose the defunding of the school-based youth service program. And that's resolution A11. All our finance were sent home. There were no changes. I'd like to turn your attention to personnel. I'll ask Mr. Kopaz. Resolution C6 is our monthly report for harassment and bullying.
Thank you, Dr. Maida. No incidents of harassment, intimidation, and bullying in this reporting period.
Unless there's any other questions by trustees on any of the resolutions that were sent home, just a point of bookkeeping. Our committee meetings, starting in October, curriculum will stay at 2 p.m., it's our old schedule. Personnel will move to 4 p.m. and finance will move to 5 p.m. And that will be for our October, November, and December meetings. And I will send a reminder with both the committee and board meetings just so everybody has it.
Excuse me, Dr. Maida, do you have the dates of those meetings?
Yes, and I'll send that. The October committee meeting is Thursday the 15th. The board meeting is Monday the 26th. November is Thursday the 19th is committees. Monday the 23rd is the board meeting. And then December, because of a short month, we're having committees on Tuesday the 15th with a turnaround of the board meeting on Thursday the 17th. So that'll be 2 o'clock for curriculum, 4 o'clock for personnel, and 5 o'clock for finance.
Oh.
2 days later.
All right, thank you.
President Bellato, that is all I have. Is there anything you need to add?
That is all.
Okay, so we will take a recess until the public meeting at 6. It is now 5.
Dr. Maida, before we take a recess, I have a couple of questions regarding some of the resolutions that I've received.
Go ahead. Just let us know which resolution so we can turn to it.
Specifically A1. I hear that we're going to have this policy and bylaw passed at October's meeting.
No. A1 is the large packet that we introduced last month, and that's the readoption of all our policies and bylaws based on Strauss Esme's changes to us.
I understand that, all the bylaws and policies. I asked for a revision of one of the policies 2 months ago. Generally, what one needs to do, if you're a trustee, you distribute your policy revision to all members. Unfortunately, that evening, I was under the misunderstanding that copies would have been provided. They were not, so I had to do a short oral. Basically, what it came down to is that any new resolution be presented to the board 10 days before so that the board could review it, other than emergency situations. Question was presented, and the rationale was in the policy revision that the superintendent of schools would be the determiner of, hello, this policy needs to be done tonight, or should have been done 2 days ago. Receiving resolutions 10 days before provides for two things. Number one, for thorough review of trustees. Trustees can do their research. Trustees can review the resolutions. I did present that. Number two, it gives the opportunity, because within the revision, this is a duly elected board, it gives the public the opportunity to review. I do remember one meeting, and our president of the union is sitting here. He had no idea of what that resolution was. And I turned around and I presented. I think that for this to be fully transparent and fully a responsible and knowledgeable board, every trustee should know what some of the resolutions are. Are we questioning field trips? Absolutely not.
Trustee Finnerty,
I'm not done
in
yet.
order to do that resolution, you could sit with the board attorney and write up the language, and then you present it to the board at workshop, and then we vote on it.
Okay.
I thought that's what,
Well, Trustee Finnerty did provide me with a copy of it.
I didn't
that
see
she
it,
got.
but the rest of us didn't.
You know, she got it from school boards. I was going to bring it to the committee meeting this month, but I couldn't make the committee meeting this month, which is why hopefully we're changing them back. So my plan is to present it to the committee and get committee input and then go from there. Trustee Finnerty informs me that it can be brought to the full board without going to my committee.
It could go
That's
right to
fine.
workshop.
I'm not going to get involved in that, but my plan, and we've spoke about it, is to present it to the committee, because certainly a timely introduction of resolutions is not a bad thing. 10 days, I don't know if I agree with 10 days, but 5 days, maybe 10 days, who knows? Our committee would whack that out with some input from the professionals from my point of view, but certainly you're welcome to bring it forward anytime. You're not stepping on my toes. So.
Well, I was told I would have copies provided for the night of the evening that I presented that policy revision. And it was, by the way, done through advisory from the NJSBA. I called up the NJSBA representative and I asked her, and I said, am I expecting something that's unrealistic? And she said, no, many school districts do that because it gives the opportunity not only for the trustees, again, I know I'm repeating myself, but it gives the trustees the opportunity to review, okay, what is this really about? May I look it up? And not only that, it gives the public the opportunity to see it and go, okay, I have a problem with this particular resolution. I need to discuss it with the board in full. That's the point. We are an elected board, and we are trustees. Trustees have the responsibility to read, to do their research, and to check it out. I'm not questioning a field trip. Oftentimes, time.
No, I agree that we could bring that, you could bring that policy up to the board or to the committee, whichever you prefer. It's just that we don't have it in front of us to read it
Well,
right
my
now.
point is
That's
next
all
week we're
I'm
going
asking
to
is for a copy of it
pass
so
a
we could
packet
read it.
this big. Before we pass a packet this big, can we review, I think the policy revision is policy number 0164. Can we review that? And
We-
just...
We can approve the policies as they are. If you wish to bring a change to that policy, you just bring what you want to change on
I've
it,
tried
and
to
we
do it
vote
3
on it.
times, and I gave
But
it to
I don't have a
the
copy of it,
chairperson
Trustee
who
Finnerty.
made policy head. I gave it to him.
Okay, so when we have a meeting, because we didn't have this month's meeting,
All right.
because there was a mess up in the schedule,
Yeah, I know,
so
I
we
know-
will have our meeting next month. We will go over that policy, we'll review it, bring it to the whole committee, bring it to the board as a whole, unless you want to work with the attorney, prepare the wording, and bring it to the board as a whole. You could do that as well.
I tried to do that, and it didn't happen. Secondly, the next thing that, I'm not quite sure, Dr. Maida, is if this is to be discussed right now, because it is a personnel matter.
Not be discussed if it's worst
It's
case.
a personnel matter.
Yes, second.
Dr. Maida, can I discuss personnel during this session, or must it be saved for executive session?
I don't know the matter that you're speaking of, but based on the generalities, I'd recommend to hear about...
I'm sorry, Dr. Degnan, I can't understand what you're saying.
No, that's
But
Mr.
I don't know who's
Lamparello.
speaking.
I'm Phil Lamparello. I'm not aware of the specific matter that you're speaking of, but my recommendation is that if it's personnel related, that we discuss it in executive session.
Okay. All right, and the third matter, this is directly, specifically towards Dr. Degnan. We did receive, and we knew this, the CUSAC report about how we are in non-compliance with our gifted and talented program because we're not offering it from grades K through 5. We're doing a magnificent job, I know, from 5 through 12. Do you have any plans? I mean, right now with COVID, I know it's very, very difficult, but how CUSAC is like, hello, that's the lowest. We're still trying to get to middle states. CUSAC is telling us we are non-compliant. What are we doing now for the future, if not currently, to try to bring us into compliance with just CUSAC with our gifted and talented program from grade K through, I guess it would be 4 because we start at grade 5.
Right, just to
What are we
bring
doing?
the trustees up, we offer at Nicholas Oresco 5 to 8, a program. We don't have it in K to 4, and we have in the high school honors and AP, but they don't consider that traditionally G&T or twice exceptional. So they had pushed this out back in late January, February. Then, of course, the pandemic came upon us, and our job was to try to get remote learning up and going. In the meantime, we have set up a committee with Charles Costell, the principal of G&T. He is the chairperson, and he has subcommittees looking at how we would identify students.
Right.
Okay? We have professional development that we would be looking at for all teachers. Okay? And then, of course, we have a program portion. What would our program look like? It could be push in, it could be pull out, but again, I'd have to work with the BA and personnel to see if we could provide staffing, funding, so it's involved. So I spoke last month that we would have something for the board, for the committee by December. The committees are working bi-weekly to look at the program, the PD, and the identification of students.
So we definitely have a plan
We have,
moving forward.
we have things in place, correct, yes, right now.
I mean, I know...
And again, I'm glad we're doing this in the public because we would have to take a serious look at what we were doing also at Oresco School. Because remember, this is district-wide now, not just one
Yeah,
school.
it's not, everybody's not going to fit in a Oresco school now.
Correct, yeah, it's every
Right.
school.
So we have to have a plan moving forward. And again, and I think everyone needs to be complimented on this side of the board because our school district is months ahead of other school districts. Are we hitting our technological problems? Absolutely. Still, we're way above, and I know this because of my grandchildren, and we are much further down the road than a lot of other school districts because of the planning, and I guess it was
So we
through
do have-
Superintendent Neese and Dan and Tom getting this thing moving. And I would like to see the same thing happening. We have a plan in place, and once this COVID thing goes away, perhaps we can implement the plan, but we do have a plan in place.
We have a plan, we have a committee, we have subcommittees, we have chairs. All in
Okay.
place and moving.
Thank you.
Okay, so with that being said, Trustee Finnerty's request, we're going to adjourn to a closed session for illegal personnel negotiation items, 525. We will be meeting in the Anna J. Herbert room for the closed session. I'm going to call the meeting to order. Can we please stand for a pledge to the flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I know. Well, it's because they don't slide. I like them better than the big ones.
For the record, this is a public meeting of the Bayonne Board of Ed. It is 6:05, the 21st day of September. We're convening in the Alexander O'Connor Auditorium. The presiding officer is Maria Vallado, President of the Bayonne Board of Education. Those in attendance include Mr. John J. Neese, our Superintendent of Schools, Mr. Kenneth Kopaz, our Assistant Superintendent for Personnel, Dr. Gary Maida, Board Secretary, Mr. Daniel Castles, School Business Administrator, Mr. Thomas Bagoo, Jr., Assistant School Business Administrator, Dr. Dennis Degnan, our Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum and Instruction, and Philip Lamparello, our Board Counsel. The meeting's open to the public. I'll take a roll call. Trustee Alonso is not here. Trustee Broderick?
Present.
Trustee Burke?
Here.
Trustee Cassius? Trustee Egan?
Here.
Trustee Finnerty?
Here.
Trustee Wilbeck?
Here.
Vice President Munoz?
Here.
President Vallado.
Vallado here. Okay. For the record, adequate written advance notice of at least 48 hours giving the time, date, and location of this meeting with the agenda was provided as follows. Notice was promptly posted in City Hall at 630 Avenue C on the bulletin board reserved for such announcements of the Board of Education. The Board Secretary sent such notice to the Jersey Journal and Bayonne Community News. Notice was filed with the municipal clerk of the City of Bayonne, Ms. Medina.
Okay, I'll turn everyone's attention to the agenda. Our first item is a commendation to Mr. Gene Woods, the Fred Cottrell Secondary Education Teacher of the Year, and is by the Committee of the Whole. Congratulations, Mr. Woods. Next up, we have our approval of the minutes and acceptance of communications, and you'll see they're listed, and all our resolutions are on our bulletin board. Is there a motion,
I'll make that.
and is there a second?
Second.
So I have a motion by Trustee Cassius and a second by Trustee Burke. On that motion and second, Trustee Alonso is absent. Trustee Broderick?
Yes.
Trustee Burke?
Yes.
Trustee Cassius? Trustee Egan?
Yes.
Trustee Finnerty?
Yes.
Trustee Wilbeck?
Yes.
Vice President Munoz?
Yes.
President Vallado?
Yes.
Next up is our curriculum portion of the consent agenda, resolutions A1 through A11. Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Trustee Wilbeck. Is there a second?
I'll second.
And a second by Trustee Finnerty. So on that motion and second, Trustee Alonso is absent. Trustee Broderick?
Yes.
Trustee Burke?
Yes.
Trustee Cassius? Trustee Egan?
Yes.
Trustee Finnerty?
Yes.
Trustee Wilbeck?
Yes.
Vice President Munoz?
Yes.
President Vallado?
Yes.
Next up is our finance agenda, resolutions B1 to B9. And do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
I have a motion by Trustee Broderick and a second.
I'll second it.
A second by Trustee Egan. So on that motion and second, Trustee Alonso is absent. Trustee Broderick,
Yes.
Trustee Burke,
Yes.
Trustee Cassius, Trustee Egan,
Yes.
Trustee Finnerty,
Yes.
Trustee Wilbeck,
Yes.
Vice President Munoz,
Yes.
President Vallado.
Yes.
And finally, our personnel agenda, resolution C1 to C23. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Trustee Cassius, and a second.
Second.
second by trustee Burke. So I have a motion and a second. Trustee Alonso is absent. Trustee Broderick,
Yes.
trustee Burke,
Yes.
trustee Cassius,
Yes.
trustee Egan,
Yes.
trustee Finerty,
Yes.
trustee Wilbeck,
Yes.
vice president Munoz,
Yes.
president Bellato.
Yes.
President, that is all I have for this evening, but we do have some cards. At this time, I'd like to introduce our 2000 school year 21 Board of Education student representative, our student council speaker, Ms. Petra Gale. Did I get that right? Thank you. You could come up to the mic. Congratulations on being our representative, and this is, I'm sure, the first of many times to meet you. In the future, on your card, just put Bayonne High School, don't put your address.
Sounds great. All right, well, good evening, trustees. My name is Petra Gali. I'm a senior at Bayonne High School and have been elected as the 2020 to 2021 Board of Education representative. I'll be attending every Board of Ed meeting and will be communicating on the behalf of the students and coming forth with events that the Student Council is preparing. If the board would like to communicate anything to the student body, I'd be happy to deliver to the Student Body's General Assembly, which takes place once a month. I want to take the time to thank Superintendent, Assistant Superintendent, our trustees, staff, and my classmates who have certainly done their best to accommodate for this virtual classroom setting. It has been tough on everyone, and we've pulled through together, and as of this month, there are mainly two concerns that have to be clarified on behalf of the student body. One being the use of Schoology. Students have certainly made their opinion clear in our Student Council Instagram poll that resulted in 89% preferring Google Classroom. A lot of the parents of younger students specifically have their complaints, as it's unrealistic to them to sit with their child for the entirety of the school day to assist with Schoology, as they have jobs to attend to. Some younger students are fortunate enough to have older siblings that can assist with the use of Schoology, but it deprives these siblings from their full focus on their classes. We've been flooded with a lot of direct messages on our Student Council Instagram asking us why we're using Schoology rather than Google Classroom, which is free and simple enough for everyone to use, as students of all ages and teachers have been experts with the app. If it's for the conference or call element, it could easily be paired with Google Meets or Zoom, which are free as well. The talk of the town is whether or not that could be a possibility soon. Finally, students are also wondering if there's any news as to when we are coming back. They're eager to return to school, and we want to know when activities will return. If the sport teams have already resumed, is there news as to whether or not our arts and other clubs can resume as well? As for the elected students and the Student Council in general, we would like to clarify all of the COVID-19 limitations that the council or the board is requiring on student events, as we're currently trying to plan some events for our student body, and clarified limitations would certainly help us come up with our plans. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Petra, if you don't mind your written comments, would you mind making a copy for
Absolutely.
our reporter? Thank you so much. No, that's good. All right.
Yeah, good. Denise has to address.
Superintendent will be addressing your concern.
Petra,
Concerning your
I will be in
concerns.
touch with you, okay? We're going to be remote until November 4th, 2020. That's the end of the first marking period. And I will be in touch with you as, I'll email and we'll meet, okay? Is that cool? Great. We'll talk. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Petra. Congratulations on your appointment.
Next up, Mr. Anthony D'Amico, 73 West 6th Street.
Anthony D'Amico, 73 West 6th Street. I've got two questions, because I've been getting a bunch of calls and a lot of people stopping me, asking me to clarify stuff.
Anthony, can you speak in the mic?
Better? There we go. All right, so like I said, I've been getting a number of calls, a number of people stopping me, asking me about what's going on. Seems to be a significant deal of confusion going on that I guess people are confused because Trustee Wilbeck's campaigning as if he's running. In fact, his son is running. I just wonder if the board can clarify for the public that it is not Trustee Wilbeck running, because I keep getting calls on that. Just some public clarification so that the voters and everybody understands that it's not Trustee Wilbeck running again. Can confirm it. I mean, I know it, but obviously people in the public are confused, so.
You talking to me?
Yes.
I'm sorry. Would you repeat, please, Mr. D'Amico?
D'Amico. But yeah, I'm getting calls, and everybody's asking me if you're running again because they're telling me that you're the one campaigning and running as if you're running again, which I know you're not, and I tell them that. But I would appreciate if you guys, everybody wants to be on the board and saying transparency and everybody giving a clear message, publicly say that you're not the one running and that it's your son.
I have to apologize to you. I'm having difficulty hearing you. If you don't mind, I'll come a little closer.
It's fine.
And you're asking me what question?
Can you just publicly clarify, because I'm getting calls and everybody's asking me, because obviously we ran against each other last year, you won, and they're asking how is it that he's running again this year. So they're confused if you're running again or if it's your son. I tell them it's your son, but I think it would clear up a lot of confusion if you say that you're not the one running.
No, I'm not running. My son's running. The name's the same. And it's quite clear, I think, on the literature that's being handed out that it says junior on it. But I'm not positive.
I haven't seen anything that says junior, but again, I haven't really looked at everything. I'm just
but
saying
I'm
I'm
sure
getting
he's
calls.
got your support, and I thank you for that.
Not really. The other thing that I have, Trustee Alonso, I know that he's been preaching that he says that the board can lower property taxes by $1,000 a person. By the way, no junior. And we all know that the board can't do that. Can somebody explain to the public how absurd that is and the reasoning behind the fact that a trustee cannot lower property taxes for people?
Yeah, I'll address this one. I was just handed one of Trustee Alonso's. It says here reduce taxes $1,000 per household cutting weight. We don't, as a Board of Ed, we don't reduce taxes. The BA, Dan Castle comes and tells us this is what we need for the budget. In order to approve this budget, we would need to increase by a 0.2, 0.3, 0.7, 0.9, 2%, whatever we need to increase. We don't, even if we don't take extra money from the city, we can't reduce it. It wouldn't reduce the taxes. It would just reduce the amount we get from the city. Because technically, as a Board of Education, we don't ask you for taxes. What we ask is the city and say, we need this much more in order to run an efficient school district. So we ask the city. The city then says, yes, we have enough to give you the 1.8 or the 1.9 or the 2%. We have enough to give that to you. They don't raise your taxes. If they raise your taxes, it's because they didn't have enough in their budget to give us that extra, so they have to raise your taxes. So it has nothing to do with us raising your taxes. It has to do with the city raising or not raising, depending on the percentage we need in order to cover educational costs in the district. So we can't lower them.
Yeah, no, I just wanted everybody to understand that because apparently, people are deceiving people and, their message needs to be clear. Oh, by the way, here's the one that doesn't have.
It doesn't say.
It doesn't say
Thanks.
junior.
So
It doesn't?
plain and simple to lie, Mr. D'Amico.
Thank you.
All right, next up, Melissa Gotsky Rodriguez, 178 Avenue F.
Melissa Godesky Rodriguez, 178 Avenue F. So two things is, one, as tough as this has been and as annoying and aggravated as this all has been from a virtual learning perspective, I just want to say thank you to the trustees who were behind getting our children in school services. I'm not quite sure who you were, but you've made a difference in a lot of these students. I can tell you that my son will be starting in school services tomorrow, and it will have a positive impact on his life. And I'm sure other families will feel the same. So thank you to the trustees who have gotten that done. We have a lot of work to do. Nothing's perfect right now, but I just felt like some recognition needs to be given for that because it means a lot. As far as opposing the defunding for youth-based school services, it's a tough one, right? Because as much as we all voted in favor for it, it can still happen. So what if that happens? What brainstorming, what can we do as a district to make sure that our children of all sorts of ages get the social and emotional balance that they're gonna need to go through this? This is hard. This is hard on all of us, and I understand why. I just don't accept why we would defund such an important service. So as a district, what have we thought about that we can do for our students if this does happen?
You know what, you're going to be very happy to know that on Friday, myself and the business administrator had a meeting with the city and our HUD representatives, and we are applying for a $600,000 grant. So we're going to cut $200,000 from our school-based youth services program. So keep your fingers crossed that we will win that grant and all systems go. So keep your fingers crossed. But we're actually put the application today, actually. We were working with the city.
So I'm going to keep my fingers crossed. Second part to that is, as of right now, we still are virtual. We don't know what's necessarily going to happen in the future. Will we be able to offer some of these services virtual for these students? Any additional, the mental health piece, any of those services that would normally be offered in person, how are we going to accommodate virtually in case something happens?
Right. That's the most challenging thing we can do. It's extremely challenging. However, with our grant-based, with our services that we already provide, if we can do face-to-face, we are. We're working on speech. As you know, OTPT, we're doing speech, but we're taking it incrementally, and we're trying to do it as safe as possible, but that's absolutely within, our purview, if we could say that, to get those services to our students. So we're working on that. We're absolutely working on that, and let's hope that we can get this funding with the city. It would be a game changer. And as part of that, we'd also be able to offer after-school programs. Even in the COVID-19 world, we'd be able to do something like that and offer homework help and those kind of things. But again, I don't want to get ahead of it a little bit, but since you brought that up about the school-based, I'm happy to say that through a partnership, we're applying for a grant mutually with the city.
Thank you very much for that.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Thank you.
In our final card, Mr. Woods. Mr. Gene Woods, our president of our BTA.
Two things for tonight. One, I guess I'm sad to see that Mr. Alonso's not here, but this seems to be what he's going to do. Second thing, I just want to commend all of the staff and teachers over the last few weeks for the work that they've done when it comes to integrating Schoology, teaching their classes the best that they can through the virtual remote setting, and offering all of the services that we can to make sure that our students are doing really well. I know, it's been tough, but, everybody is pulled together, has, done the training and just continues to support each other. So I know sometimes that in the public, our teachers and staff don't always get commendations. It's a lot of individual stuff or sometimes bashed. And I just, we appreciate the support of all the people who are rallying around us. And again, I just want to say thanks, and I appreciate, and hopefully everybody else appreciates, all of the work that our staff members have been doing to continue the learning process for our students. So, thank you.
Thank you.
President, that's all I have for this evening. Anybody? Motion to adjourn? Motion by trustee Cassius to adjourn. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Vice President Munoz. So we have a motion and a second to adjourn the public meeting. Trustee Alonso is absent. Trustee Broderick?
Yes.
Trustee Burke?
Yes.
Trustee Cassius? Trustee Egan?
Yes.
Trustee Finnerty?
Yes.
Trustee Wilbeck?
Yes.
Vice President Munoz? President Bellato?
Yes.
It is something. 6:24.